$100 million. I mean, just think about that number for a second. In the startup world, securing a Series B round of this magnitude is a massive, monumental feat. Typically, it requires months of grueling travel, endless coffee meetings, complex back-and-forth negotiations, and just nonstop human networking. But what if I told you that the entity that just pulled this off didn't take a single flight, never shook a single hand, and definitely didn't drink a single cup of coffee?
So that brings us to the burning question. Who or what just closed this massive Series B round? Well, the answer is going to fundamentally change how you view the future of business. It wasn't some highly charismatic human founder. It was an AI agent. Specifically, an AI agent named SivaClaw, developed by an enterprise startup called Lizer. Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to unpack what is arguably one of the most significant signal flares in the tech industry right now. We are officially transitioning from viewing artificial intelligence as just a neat consumer toy to recognizing it as an independent, autonomous economic operator. Part 1, the core story behind this $100 million fundraise. By pulling this off, Lizer proved that a massive paradigm shift is actively happening. For the last couple of years, we've essentially been stuck in the AI as assistant phase, right? Think of those helpful chatbots that draft your emails, answer basic queries, or summarize a Zoom meeting. But we're now aggressively moving into the era of AI as operator. An operator doesn't just assist you, it owns the workflow, it closes deals, it manages incredibly complex, trust-driven processes, and it actually persuades humans. And the concrete achievements of this SivaClaw agent are honestly kind of staggering. It independently managed ongoing conversations with over 130 different investors. It drummed up $400 million in initial interest and successfully locked down a $100 million round at a valuation of roughly $500 million. Humans? Well, we only stepped in at the very end just to sign the final legal documents. These investors weren't just funding a company, they were essentially funding a live 9-figure product demonstration of what an autonomous agent can actually do out in the wild. Let's move on to part 2. How SivaClaw actually worked step by step. Because this wasn't magic, it was a highly orchestrated system. Step 1, the agent conducted highly targeted investor outreach. Step 2, it handled rigorous Q&A and due diligence, actively matching investor profiles to the round structure. Step 3, it generated the actual customized investment memos that VC firms use internally to make their decisions. And Step 4, actually, this is the wild part, it analyzed slide engagement to infer investor intent. It tracked exactly which slides investors lingered on to prioritize its follow-ups. Which leads us to a really powerful realization. That is not automation. That is agency. Automation is just executing a rigid, pre-programmed script. Agency is dynamically navigating the high-stakes, incredibly nuanced world of human persuasion. It's adjusting to real-time feedback and independently owning the outcome of a complex workflow. It is crossing into territory we previously thought was exclusively human. So, part 3, the architecture of autonomy. How do you build an AI this reliable? To build something like this, the foundational concept you need to understand is the agent harness. The AI model itself, at its core, simply produces text tokens. It's the harness wrapped around that model that turns its raw reasoning into actual work. The harness coordinates context, decides which tools to call, reads files, manages memory, and, crucially, executes recovery logic when things inevitably go wrong. Stronger models don't replace the harness, they just raise the ceiling on what the harness can coordinate. And to achieve true enterprise-grade reliability, Lizer doesn't just use one massive, confusing prompt. It uses multi-agent managerial orchestration. Think of it like a corporate team. You have a manager agent coordinating the overall goal. It delegates tasks to a researcher agent to go gather data, a drafter agent to actually write the content, and a citation agent to verify the sources. Breaking complex work into discrete, verifiable steps like this is exactly how you prevent catastrophic failures and hallucinations. Of course, you can't just let autonomous agents run wild with proprietary company data. Safety absolutely must be structurally embedded through layered guardrails. We're talking prompt-level constraints, strict policy checks, specific tool permissions, and human-in-the-loop approvals for critical escalations. Safety and responsible AI aren't just polite suggestions anymore. They are an architecture that has to be built into the system itself, never just left to the model's discretion.
Now, when choosing a framework to build these agents, the market offers very different paths. On one side, you have frameworks like LangGraph, which are code-first, developer-centric, and require a lot of manual integrations. But on the other side, platforms like Lizer Agent Studio offer a no-code environment with pre-built hybrid flow orchestration. This seamlessly coordinates different AI models and tools out of the box. It really shows how the rapid deployment of safe, governed agents is becoming highly accessible to business teams, not just software engineers. Moving to part 4, managing state and memory for long-term workflows. So perhaps the single most critical challenge for any long-running agent is memory. Where does that memory actually live? If you use closed API memory, your agent's operating history is essentially trapped inside the framework, which leads directly to severe vendor lock-in. Instead, enterprise agents need what's called an independent state substrate. This means memory is stored in an external queryable database. Them technologies like TDB Cloud Zero, so it remains fully portable, even if you decide to swap out your AI models down the line. And how does the agent quickly recall all that memory? It uses a clever dual store fusion approach. It combines traditional exact keyword matching alongside Matryoshka vector embeddings, which is just a fancy way of saying it allows the AI to understand context and semantic similarity. By fusing these two together mathematically, the agent achieves basically flawless long-term memory across all its sessions. Finally, part 5, the implications for enterprise AI and the future of business. Zooming back out from the technical weeds for a second, what does all this mean for the future of business? Well, the workflows poised for takeover next are incredibly high value. We are looking at autonomous AI sales development reps, deal nurturers running complex account-based marketing campaigns, agents handling tedious supplier onboarding and procurement, regulatory compliance auditors digging through endless contracts, and even systems running their own IT support. We are literally watching entire corporate departments transform into software-driven autonomous units. The ultimate takeaway here is this. This wasn't a demo. It was the first glimpse of AI as an economic actor. That $100 million fundraise, that was just the starting gun. The institutional capital chasing the space absolutely knows that a massive economic shift has officially begun, and AI is now pulling up a chair to the negotiating table. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question that should challenge your entire tech strategy moving forward. Is your organization currently building a helpful assistant or an autonomous operator? Because if you're just building chatbots while your competitors are deploying economic actors, you are going to be left behind. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this sparks some big ideas, and I'll catch you on the next one.